Welcome everybody to the March 2020 video game pickups. And sadly, with how things are going, this is supposed to be a really fun weekend. It was supposed to be Midwest Gaming Classic, and of course, that got canceled, unfortunately. And I understand why with what's happening and everything recently, but it was going to be the opportunity for me to one of the few opportunities to actually look for some certain items I was looking for. One being, I'm still actively looking for the jewel case version of the original Darkstalkers on PlayStation 1. And it's one of the only Darkstalkers game for the North American releases that I'm actually missing. I have the long box version that I've had for a couple years now, but for some reason, that jewel case version keeps eluding me. Last year, I found two copies. One was in really bad shape, and they were asking quite a bit more than I was really willing to give that for that. And then I found one that was in really good shape, but the guy, when I tried bargaining with him, trading whatever, he just wouldn't budge. And now that game seemingly has actually gone up in price, where I've seen it go for anywhere between $60 to $70 for a one-on-one fighting game. It's kind of strange. I don't understand why that one's risen so much in price when that used to be a fairly cheap game to get, no matter what version it was in. But for whatever reason, now it's gone up there. The other thing too is with the fact that the arcade collectors were going to be there. I was hoping to get some opportunities to meet a couple people, trade or barter for some more Thomas Wave games, or possibly some CPS2 games for that, and kind of see what's out there. There's also some parts I was looking at, hoping I can maybe pick up. Like I need some dust washers for some various arcade sticks, and like even some extra buttons that I can usually find there for fairly cheap and not have to pay for shipping for them. And on top of that, I was going to meet a lot of people. Like I was looking forward to meeting JLove81, T-Belly. Really like to meet those guys in person and hang out with them for a while. And of course, see Megadan29 and Captain Algebra again. I saw those guys last year, and it's really kind of funny because like Dan, I've hung out with a couple times when we've been down at Greg's place when he's had parties, and he hasn't had one in about a year, sadly. I kind of miss hanging out down in his arcade in his basement. And Captain Algebra, I actually only live about 30 minutes from him, and my job is actually in his hometown where he's currently living, but I haven't really met up with him outside of the conventions when he and Dan were hanging out, which is kind of strange. And then you got like the cheap ass retro gamer. He actually lives into Chicago, which is only about hour and a half, 2 hour drive. Usually, like Matt and I hang out down in Schaumburg, and we're down that area every once in a while. Of course, now due to the whole lockdown and of Illinois being in this situation, we can't freely come and go. The last trip we took was just before they announced Illinois was going to be on lockdown. We went up to Madison and hung up out there for a day and did some game hunting, which one of those games that I found is actually in this group of games that I got for this month. But yeah, it's just kind of sad because I had a friend that was coming over from Maryland. We were going to hang out for the weekend. I had a hotel room for us and everything, and now we'll have to wait until next year, and hopefully that'll happen. And it's kind of nice the fact that our tickets are good for next year as well. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to see what happens in 2021, because at this point, 2020 is just completely canceled on everything. I mean, I can't hang out at my favorite pub on Wednesday nights like I usually do. I can't hang out with friends and just say, hey, let's go grab a bite to eat, go to Portillo's or something. And it's been crazy. I mean, my hair is just getting wild. I keep getting these weird flips, and the salons are all closed, and unfortunately, none of my friends are really hairdressers. So getting a haircut is even problematic at this point. So it's a little frustrating. But I know a lot of us are all in that situation. But anyway, getting into the games, some fun stuff. I'm gonna start with one of the few PC physicals that I have, and this was from a Kickstarter that was years back. Surprise, surprise, for something called Shenmue 3. and we got the I not only opted for the PlayStation 4 version physically, but I also did the PC version as well as some other stuff that I'm still waiting and getting in. One of my past, I think it was last month's video, actually, I got that little art card signed by Yu Suzuki. And then we have the PC version, which has a different color slipcase that's very similar to the PlayStation 4 version. And then the Kickstarter exclusive of the PC version, the game itself is not on the disc. This is simply the Epic Store launcher. And then from there you would download the game onto your PC. But they also give you a digital copy, so I won't be opening this. This will just go on the shelf whenever I get my new place and my shelves are back up again with my Shenmue collection. So, but I just think it's kind of cool. And on the back it has like Shenmue saved and everything like that. It looks like a very legit release, which I thought was pretty cool. So, moving on from there, I don't know why I got this on the Switch. I guess it was just easier for me to find on it. But I got Langrisser 1 and 2, simply because I never played the original Langrissers, or Warsong or something is what it was called on the Genesis, even though we got the first game, or was it the second game? One of those. But I really love the artist who did this. I actually have a lot of his work and some of his other anime stuff, like Plastic Little and all that. And his name is escaping me. It's just horrible because I really like his art style, and it's very 80s to me, or early 90s, and I love that stuff when it comes to anime, because all the new stuff I've dropped off, and I don't really watch a whole lot of it. I just like the old classic stuff. But I'm really hoping to dive into this soon. Unfortunately, I'm one of those essential workers, so I haven't had time just to sit at home and play games like I want to. So I don't know when I'm going to get to this, but I hope at some point I will. I have been able to get through a couple games, and a little more than that in a bit. My only PS4 pickup, and I actually just grabbed this yesterday, so it still counts. But I did pick up Persona 5 Royal. I do have the original Persona 5 on the PS4, but I'm a sucker for these steel cases, and this one is different. And they added a bunch of stuff to it, so even though I kind of, in a sense, double dipped on this game, because it is a whole nother copy of it, and it's, even though they could have done it as a DLC where they added it in and just said, hey, for 10-15 bucks more, you can get the DLC for the original PlayStation or Persona 5, and it would be the same thing. But I guess they added some new mechanics to it. Of course, there's a new character and some extra goodies and stuff, and this came with a cool little dynamic theme. And then for pre-ordering, they gave you this little Joker mask, which is kind of cool. It's just a little lapel pin, nothing fancy, but I thought it was kind of cool. I didn't want to go for the big collector's items, simply because, one, I didn't want to spend the extra money. Sure, the soundtrack would have been nice, but I can always buy the soundtrack separately. And I think it's only a sample disc. I don't think like the whole original soundtrack is on that. Then you get the art book and then the Joker's mask, which I really didn't have any interest in. So, and I'm trying to not buy special editions, just simply because of one, room, two, usually that stuff I don't do anything with anyway. So what's the point, right? Back on the thing of Kickstarter, sort of. This was actually done on Indiegogo some time ago. To be honest, I'm kind of disappointed in this. This is a series of games that are kind of within the same universe. This is based off of Plague Road, which was a limited run release. This is by the same creator, Luke, who I can't judge him because I don't really know him. I don't really care for some of the things that have happened with the fact that he decided to go with Indiegogo. And the other thing that kind of irked me just a little bit was the fact that, being that it was towards the end when the Vita carts are no longer available, he had to find a way to source those carts to make a physical version to actually fulfill those promises of having a physical Vita game. And he teamed up with East Asia Soft, and they decided they're going to sell exclusively on PlayAsia. And they have this really nice collector's edition for each of these games. It came with the soundtrack, certificate, all that stuff that PlayAsia usually does. And it was cheaper than buying the games on Indiegogo. But on the other flip side of that, we did get exclusive slipcases for these games. And take it or leave it, he signed them on the backside. But that is the first one. We have Mecha Wars Descent Ashes. And this is kind of in the same line as the Plague Road, where it's these... the animation's kind of... I like the animation in it, or the character designs at least are neat. It's very pretty looking. The games aren't the best, but it's kind of interesting. So here's the front slip cover, and then the back, and you see his signature there in the silver. And then the actual cover for it, which kind of sticking in the Plague Road sense, where it has kind of the stained glass look to it and everything, which is kind of neat. And then the second one is War Theaters. So here is the slipcase for that and the back. And I don't know why. His signature is very different on both of them, so I'm not sure why he did that way. I thought it was very strange, but all the other copies I'm seeing on some other Discords, people who also got the physical versions, he did the same thing. So it's like he signed this one all the same way, and then on the other copies he signed all a different way. Kind of strange. I don't know why he decided to do it on the back side versus the front side. And then here is, once again, with the kind of the stained glass, in a sense, design cover of it. And then for that trip that Matt and I took up to Madison, I was kind of surprised. We went to pre-played on the east side of Madison. There's actually two that we normally go to, east and west. And we decided not to go to the west side that time, just simply because of time, and usually it's a good half-hour drive from one side of the town to the other side, and we didn't really want to do that. But we stopped off at this one, and I was kind of surprised to see this one in the wild, in a sense in the wild, if you want to call it that. But this is actually a PAL exclusive version in Europe only, that we didn't get physically here in North America. And I normally don't go for this type, but it was there, and the asking price wasn't too horrible, but I knew that it was something I probably wasn't going to see again in a store like that. So I decided to go ahead and just bite the bullet and grab it. And it's very nice, actually. It actually comes with a pull-out poster, which I'm not really going to show, but it's just a small poster. But this technically came with 2 games. The other one's a digital code, which I won't be able to really redeem because I don't have a PAL account that I can redeem this on, and it doesn't work with a American account, and I'm not going to go to the trouble to get multiple different memory cards to have different regions on it. I'm just not that way. But this is God Eater 2 Rage Burst. And this is kind of a Namco's answer to Monster Hunter, in a sense. Basically, you have these weapons, you hunt down these giant monsters, you can go solo, you're able to go online and team up with some people. And there was an anime that was actually based off of this, which I've never seen. But God Eater also, this version also did come to the PlayStation 2 here in the US physically. But just the fact that this was a PAL exclusive that we never got over here, I just thought was kind of unique. I don't really have a lot of these PAL Vita games, but I thought I'd give it a shot. I did try the PS4 version a little bit. Wasn't quite my thing, but I'm willing to give it another try just to see if I can convince myself that I like it. If not, I could at least say I tried. I don't know. Something unique. You don't see that. The redeemable game, by the way, was God Eater Resurrection, which is technically the PSP game that was released. And you could get that. And I think the PlayStation 4 version, if you bought it new, you also got that as well. And the last game I got was a East Asia Soft release from PlayAsia. This one I kind of jumped on and it actually sold out very quickly, so I'm kind of glad I did grab this. This is a Mega Man clone called Metagal. And you can see from the front there, I mean, it plays just like a Mega Man game, but much easier. It's platforming. There's several levels you go through. The whole premise is you're an android and you come across your creator and your sisters. One actually betrays you, and then the rest of them kind of get brainwashed in a sense. And you going against them has the same. They're the master robots that you would like face in Mega Man and everything. It's a very quick game. There is some replayability, just like Mega Man. After you beat the your android sisters, you gain their abilities, and you can switch between them at any time. You can go back and revisit all of the different stages. You can collect various power ups if you have certain weapons with you at that point in time. And the achievements are actually very easy. I made it through probably in a couple hours. I did stream it a little bit. I didn't go through the whole thing, but it's not a bad game. If you're looking for an easy achievements, this is probably it. There's a lot of like gold trophies, and getting the platinum on this seems very easy. I just haven't done it yet. I'm at the very last boss, which you have to face him twice, and for whatever reason, I just get irritated. But this game, with this, there's not much in here. There is a small instruction manual, which is kind of unique. It's only a couple pages, 11 pages, but it has like your old notes and everything like you would find in an older manual, and it tells you all the, the different trophies and how to get them and everything. And it has a reversible cover. So here is the main cover you see. And then the reversible one, if I can pull it out here. It's not really reversible. It has some nice little art on the inside, which I think is kind of cool. And that's the android you play and then the creator, which is kind of neat. I like those little extra things that they include every once in a while in some of their releases. This also did come with a soundtrack, as well as a numbered certificate. And I got number 637, it says on the backside. And it also comes with this cool little sticker, Play Asia release number 57. And it comes in this nice little box, which I have open still. So that'll go in the little Play Asia collection that I have, and I've only got maybe 7 games now from Play Asia. But that's something to check out. I think that game in particular is available digitally on PlayStation 4 and maybe Xbox. Don't quote me on that. And it may be on the Switch. But if you're into Mega Man games, it might be something worth checking out. I'm not a huge Mega Man fan per se. I've played some of the games, and I understand them and I respect them. Just not exactly my favorite thing from Capcom. But yeah. So that wraps it up for this month, guys. As always, I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.